Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program Superdawn. I am Vera Osoko today on this program.
And I am Anthony Osaibobo. Good morning to the world.
A very lovely morning to you. I am Precious Abayo. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, today we're going to be looking at the strategy for coping with unemployment. If you look at the decimal rate of unemployment in Nigeria, it's gone really high. From 2014, it went from 20%, and moving away from 2014 to 2016 from the National Bureau of Statistics, it's gone to 33.5%. So how can we cope as a youth? How can the youth out there cope? How can they, without sitting at home waiting for employment, get themselves something to do? So that's what we're going to be doing today on the program. And during that segment, the phone lines will be open for you to call, make your contribution. What we're looking for is solution. How can you keep yourself busy, feed yourself, at least get yourself going until you get employment? That's what we want to do this morning. We'll go on this break. Don't forget that what we usually do on this show is to first look through the papers and see news that are making the rounds, and then allow you to also contribute. But that segment this morning will be through SMS. So you can SMS us as we take the newspaper review segment this morning. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's newspaper review segment. I want to start with the Nation newspaper this morning. In Ngige, take this one. Heads to roll as federal government uncovers 62.555 billion fraud in NSITF. And the writer says in Ngige, this is why boards are yet to be inaugurated. The Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund is a cesspool of fraud and lawlessness, as report has said. The federal government panel has uncovered about 62.555 million fraud in the agency. The money was spent without proper accounting procedures being followed, according to the panel, which submitted its report to the government yesterday. No, this kind of money is being spent without the proper procedures. What do you think of this?
Well, I think for Nigeria, or for any country at all, there are procedures, you know, for everything. We'll call it due process. There's a due process for everything. And as long as there is a constitution exists, as long as there are acts that bind different agencies and different processes, people should follow them, and that's why we call it the rule of law. People should always, you know, follow the rule of law.
Yes, the rule of law should be followed, like you said, and there is always a due process, like she said. But then I think it's a good thing that they were probed, and for any form of funds or amount of money that was spent without being put in the account. Any kind of money that has been spent without being accounted for, appropriation, definitely it needs to be probed and they need to be booked. Okay,
but that's huge coming from that end. We have this one in the Nation newspaper. Saraki, Wike, Tambua, Otom in a defection talks. And the writer says PDP and RAPC chiefs meet in Ilorin. The was learned to be a gathering to pray for a politician mother, but yesterday the session in Ilorin was more than that. Politicians launched into prayers to smoothen defection talks between the People's Democratic Party and the RAPC party group. But looking at this, Saraki's issues, Wike, Tambua, Otom has already moved. Looking at all of these talks, what is it telling Nigerians?
I guess it's telling Nigerians that party defection is the in thing right now. Since it's 2019 election that's coming, and of course the 2019 election is, should I say, the most talked about for so long. Ever since the June 12 election, this 2019 is one election that we have been looking up to, we are looking forward to change in Nigeria. So all of these things is just some kind of strategy, you know, for you. Every politician has an aim. You have an aim, you have a goal, and I feel that if these parties, some way, somehow, you know, being comfortable with it, it's only right, they feel it's only right that they should defect, and that's what has been going on.
Okay.
First of all, I would say that Otom hasn't really moved yet.
Yes.
Even though he's still in talks with the APC. So basically, what's happening now is all towards the general elections. Most of these meetings are, you know, alleged meetings, you know, but they're behind closed doors. Nobody really knows what's happening. But basically, the thing is, before 2019 elections, we're going to see and hear about a lot of meetings. There are a lot of strategies, you know, going on for strategic positions. Some people want strategic positions, and then they're trying to align with the parties or groups that you know, suit their interest. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing now. And we're going to see more of that before the 2019 general election.
Because I know that this talks is to consolidate their grips, you know, on the party, making sure that I don't drop on the wrong side, and it's necessary. But I don't know why. But it's usually like this when election is around the corner. People want to look at where we pay me. But is it about where we pay you, or about what will the people gain? What will pay the people?
It's only like that, mostly in our country. Because if you look at how Americans or the British, you know, practice politics. If you're a Republican, you're a Republican.
A Democrat.
If you are a Democrat, you're a Democrat. There is no, I want to run. So maybe Democrats wouldn't suit me. Let me run to Republican. If a Republicans would even take you. because for them you have to be a Republican for a long period of time. If you're an independent, you're an independent. So they don't have this whole...
Maybe because their own kind of system is from the cradle. You know, from their home, you know that my father is a Democrat.
Yes.
And everything around that institution in the home is centered on what their beliefs are. So you grew up knowing that this is the vision, this is the party, and that's the part of ideology that we understood here and we stand for. But in our own part, a father can be PDP, the son, the mother, AD, the children, everybody's just everywhere.
You talked about ideology then. When you come to Nigeria, it's only real that your father's ideology or your friend's ideology is not necessarily my ideology. I'm coming from the angle where you talked about the father, the son, they all belong to one party. Knowing fully well that, okay, different folks with different strokes. When you look at that and you apply that to Nigerian politics, I think that's just the way it is. The fact that you think this way, I feel, okay, the PDP, they think this way, they have this ideology, I go with them. And the APC have this ideology.
What we're saying here is basically something to do with the roots, where you're from, what the beliefs are. We're talking about politics.
Yeah.
And this is a strong emotion, belief, or sentiment. And it comes with how you view it. But growing up from a particular home or tribe or place, some people believe that you have to continue. Like a father would think or believes that I'm into this business. And before long, you see that the child is tilting towards that business because he or she grows up in that environment. So that's how politics is outside the country, not ours, not our system kind of politics. They believe that, hey, you must help the less privileged. Some believe that it's the Labour Party. We look into welfare of the people. Some believes, no, let's look elsewhere. So you growing up, it's natural for you to now begin to tilt that way because this is your formation. This is what you believe in. This is how you grew up. Not that you believe. You grew up meeting it, and it is the system you decided to cultivate. But in our own, you can see a father today is in PDP, tomorrow is in APC, next tomorrow is in Labour or AD. The child gets confused.
Exactly.
And so that's the confusion we're talking about. That's the confusion we're talking about.
That leads us to a question that in Nigeria, you get to ask yourself, or the people and the politicians, what is the ideology of the political parties in Nigeria? Do we even have
an ideology?
The funny thing is that we can actually have an ideology. They don't have at the moment.
But do we have?
They say they do, but we don't see it in full. Because the thing with the ideology or the values of the the Republican or the Democratic Party is, Democratic Party is, look, one of them says, this is my belief on taxation, immigration, abortion, you know, and all other issues. And anyone said, no, this is what I think, so we're on the other end. But the thing here is we can actually also create that. There are issues now around state lists. There are issues around how to grow the economy on the economy. There are issues around fiscal federalism, security. Yes. So those are issues that these parties can actually build their values around. And one say, you know what, I support state police. And the other one can say, no, we don't support state police. So this kind of issues can
local government autonomy. There are issues like that that forms a party.
So these issues can then be what people say, look, I support this, I don't support this. Naturally, every Nigerian will tilt towards one or other party. So we all then become politicians like Americans are. If you don't want to be in the party, then you become independent who support, you know, either of these values in these two parties. So we can actually create these values.
Okay, we go moving ahead. We have some stories. There's no contest for presidential tickets in APC, says Gaya. And the writer says senators back direct primaries in Osun. Senator Kabiru Gaya, Kano South, yesterday asked agreed members of the All Progressive Congress to remain and reform the party rather than leave it. Gaya, a former Kano State governor, told reporters at the APC Secretariat that anyone who wants to contest for president on the platform of the party is free to look elsewhere because there is no vacancy.
Okay, there is no vacancy. Well, that's the party's own policy, and they are free to do whatever. But then the advice he gave that, okay, you don't have to run away from the party because of the fact that they have internal crisis. And I think that's a good advice. If the fact that there are crises in the party doesn't mean you have to run away.
Good advice. Okay, that's your thought. But
I just feel there are always crises in the parties, right?
But I feel that's no, for me, okay. I'm just looking at we don't have our thought is not necessary here, but we're just saying it.
Okay.
I think that we shouldn't say no presidential ticket. People should be allowed to contest in a party.
No, you're getting me wrong. I did not say no presidential tickets. The fact that...
That's the story we're talking about here.
Okay, the fact that
And
it
that's
was
the
mentioned,
advice.
the advice is don't run away from the party because of the fact there are crises. You don't need to run away from the party.
Okay, it's not the crisis we're looking at. We're looking at presidential ticket.
Okay,
There's no
yes.
ticket for anybody
I
right now.
digressed.
The guys assume that they have a presidential aspirant already or candidate, so don't look at it. If that's where you're going to, that's what he's saying. If that's the end you're going to, no, look elsewhere. But we can settle our differences, but don't look at the presidential seat. Okay, I'll just take this one. Fayemi, I won't disappoint Ekiti people.
Well, he was given the certificate of return yesterday, and even at that, INEC also lamented the vote buying in Ekiti State. Everybody's looking. There's been a lot of investigation in that regard, but at the end of the day, he's been given a certificate of return. It has to then work for the good of Ekiti and Ekiti people. It has to then work for the security of lives and properties in Ekiti State. While PDP has said, look, we're going to tribunal. So all of these issues, he's been given that certificate. Beyond he has to then look away from politics, those who voted for me or those who didn't vote for me, those who were for me or were not for me, and then focus on ensuring that that state develops beyond what it is.
That's what it is. It's not just about words. Every politician has a manifesto before you get into the office. But then, when you get into the office, what would you do within that tenure, that administration, that 4 years in power? That's what we should be looking at. So yes, he has made his own promise, and like every other politician will.
Okay,
it's only safe to say, okay, we just hope that all of these things that they have promised the party, he himself, is being fulfilled.
Okay, but I pray that he feels I'm sure he's now tested. He's tested before the waters, and this is another opportunity. Returning back, the people want to see him, all the lessons he must have learned. They want to see him display all of those things. And so returning back, yes, congratulations, but we still pray that he will carry out all the promises. But moving away from the Nation newspaper this morning.
We have the New Telegraph newspaper, and the front page says, defection, PDP mid Saraki, Tampawa, Otom, and Ahmed. When it comes to the right, it says, Secondus Atiku Namidu Shakarao did onslaught. This one says, national carrier, Nigeria Air, targets its one route. The federal government yesterday made good its promise as it unveils the name of the new national carrier, Nigerian Air. It also unveils the logo of the carrier, which is a wave-like ribbon depicting the national flag and its motto being bringing Nigeria close to the world. The national carrier, which
well, I want to say congratulations. At long last, we have a carrier.
Exactly.
And we saw it coming because for a few weeks and months, we'll be seeing different logos. And Nigerians are expectant to see how does it look like. What's all these logos all about? But it has come to pass and it's come to stay. Thank God we have a national carrier now.
I think my own my joy my joy with the national carrier is the fact that the federal government has said, look, we're not going to own more than 5% stake in this carrier, because a lot of people have said, look, just let the private sector organize. So they said it's going to be private sector driven and led, and then they will not even have a say in who runs it. So the people who are in charge will decide who runs it, and I hope they stick to that promise, so that it will have. Because we had Nigerian Airways,
we have all sorts.
Really, and so this one, we're hoping that this works. They've chosen that it will run, across 81 routes.
Yes.
So hopefully this works, and then it's also a means of generation of course, employment. It will create jobs, and then it will also create it also generate internal revenue. So it is a welcome development.
I pray that what happened to Nigerian Airways will not happen to this one. I'm excited, though private partnership driven, but we must also monitor it because we've seen businesses that we've had with private partnership, and we're lamenting today if we look at what is happening in the power sector. you know. But looking at this critically, for me, it was embarrassing that we don't even have a national career for some time. It was embarrassing, but this is coming up now. It's a welcome idea, and I'm sure Nigerians are happy about it, but we want to see it stay. That's it. Yes.
Okay, this one says, insecurity, Buhari's government confused and incompetent. This is coming from OBJ Obasanjo. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo yesterday took a hard stand on the spate of insecurity across the country, saying that President Muhammadu Buhari's government appeared confused while the nation has become badly divided and left to drift previously. Now the Obasanjo is coming out again.
Yeah, he said he's come again. Obasanjo has a way of making news, and if you look through his past letters and even what brought about some movement recently, looking at alternative, the third eyes, all of those things, it's Obasanjo's way of saying, if he's not happy, you will know through what he writes and what he says. And so those are part of those things that he keeps saying, and Nigerians are listening and watching.
Yeah, he's always been somebody who speaks out or writes about what he thinks, and whether we like it or not, we need that balance. We need people who speak constructively and people who say, this is what I think should be happening, and this is how it should happen. So we need all of that balance, you know, within the system.
Okay, this one says Boko Haram. Police arrest 22 Chibok girls adoptors rather. I would like to take that story, but you know, he just speaks for himself. Police arrest 22 Chibok girls, schoolgirls, abductors. And I think that's a good development, if you ask me. The fact that we keep saying we want people being remanded, we want people being arraigned, we want people caught. It's not just by saying, okay, we are fighting insurgents, we are fighting insecurity, we are fighting all of these things. We need to see things happen. The parading, the arresting, we need all of these things. I think it's a good development, if you ask me.
I would have appreciated you reading that particular story, because we wanted to know where they were apprehended. We wanted to know who did what, so that that will base our discussion. We'll have something to talk, but I'm not just saying. We've seen where they've arrested these people before, and
okay, then let me take the story. Then this one says, it says, police said yesterday they had arrested 22 members of the Boko Haram group involved in the April 14, 2014 abduction of over 200 students of government girls' secondary school, Chibok, in Borno State. Most of the suspected Boko Haram commanders paraded yesterday by the Borno State Police Commissioner, Mr. Damian Chukwu, at the command's headquarters in Maiduguri, were below 30 years. Chukwu said the arrests were carried out by the operatives of the Inspector General of Police IG Intelligence Response Team, IRT, who were deployed to coordinate operations against rising spates of suicide bomb attacks on Maiduguri, the state capital, and other towns. Okay,
we wanted to know if you, what I heard from you right now is that below the ages of even 30 that are causing this menace in the society. I think that we need to go, I don't know why we've not apprehended some of these sponsors at this time. I think we need to begin to go look inwards and go down, get more investigation on, so that we can get those that are sponsoring these guys. Every day you keep hearing attacks. We've brought in a retired military colonel here that has said we'll keep hearing it. When you have insurgencies like this, it doesn't just go off. But the numbers, the quantum, the numbers of people they are killing is worrisome right now.
Now, that's a fact, though. But then I think our intelligence agencies, they need to do more. You know, the spying, the surveillance, more coordinations into this the matter, because I think the people we're supposed to be looking at are the people sponsoring.
We don't know those people. I don't know. We don't know those people.
We don't know them. Those are the people
when you said you are looking at. I don't know those you are supposed to be looking at.
Okay, the word should not be looking at. The people we are supposed to be looking at, trying to apprehend. Napping. We should focus on who are the ones that are sponsoring them. And not just the people that are doing it, because at the end of the day, you catch them or you arrest them, you might not really get anything from them. It's not about them, it's about the people that are sponsoring them.
Okay,
so if we can focus on that, I think that would solve the situation.
The good thing is these boys or men, or because they're below the age of 30, have been apprehended, and then they will be questioned, and hopefully they get a lot of information, because sometimes once you have gotten into that kind of life, you really become very hardened, that no matter the amount of torturing, you hardly give up.
Because they give themselves out for
a suicide bombing. So
yes,
really
bombing.
It's difficult, but I hope that the intelligence agencies can get enough information from them as to how this whole process, how it is carried out, who is assisting and who is where, the formation and all of that, so that at least we know that Boko Haram has been decimated to a good point, but more can be done to ensure that the country is safe.
Okay, moving on. The flood story. Federal government will give succor to Ogun flood victims, and this is coming from Vice President Osibanjo. This one says the Vice President Osibanjo yesterday promised that the federal government will assist victims of flooding which wreaked havoc on Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. These came as 3 persons were confirmed dead yesterday, while 4 others sustained injuries in the motor accidents in the state. The flood, the downpour again. So I guess it's a good thing. The federal government is giving assistance.
The federal government is responding as fast as they can. Osibanjo was there yesterday. But there's another state in Benin, flood killed the baby, swept the baby away. And then there's another state where I can't remember if it was a Castina. There's one other state
that happened yesterday. Again, yesterday loads of cases like this came up.
So really, there's state governments, local governments that really need to start doing something about flooding. Right now it is not about what the cities. I know we talked about the last time, and we're looking at don't throw dirt on the road. This time it's not even about not throwing dirt on the road, because it's already happening. So you really have to ensure that people are safe. We know the areas that, and for individuals, if your area is prone to flooding, as much as you can, if you have somewhere to go for now, relocate for the safety of your life first. Get out your things that are valuable, relocate. After the flood, please come back home. Really, as much as you can, just relocate.
Yeah, because I think we discussed this during the week, and I also think that you need to open up channels for the drainage. You begin to open up channels so that the water can flow. Just like what Precious said, you don't have. It's not a must that that you're prone to this your areas, and you want to stay there. Life is very precious. Just move away from that area, and later we saw it happen last year on the island where people actually moved to homes. Some people even relocated all their properties, and that's safe. Is better than staying put and hearing that a lot of people lost their lives. Maybe have been just flooded away like that. I think we need to be proactive.
And yeah, it's a good one that the federal government is stepping into this one, Ogun flood. And I think they should do more. All the states have been affected. We had, like you said, Casting.
I think from what she said, because this is reactive.
Yes.
This is after the flood. Really it's about being proactive.
Yes.
We need to have evacuation centers. We already know. For example, a place like Lekki, we already know that, okay, this place gets flooded. What can we then do? What are the evacuation centers that we can create so when this happens, we can relocate people? And then so people can stay there for a while. Homes, from what we read, about 1,000 homes were destroyed. I mean, that's starting all over again. To fix that. So we need to have, so we don't have too many IDPs, centers.
Okay, moving on, the last story for the New Telegraph. Thugs destroy Milai's project slated for inauguration. Thug yesterday destroyed the newly constructed 4 blocks of classrooms constructed by Senator Dino Milai, representing Kogi West. Milai was scheduled to inaugurate some projects in his constituency, including the 4 blocks of classrooms at Sakinoma and Lokonguma, which were burnt and vandalized. In the early hours of Tuesday, several thugs invaded the 2 locations where the blocks of classrooms were built and set ablaze a large section of the classroom in Sakinoma, while that of the Lokonguma were vandalized by persons off the ceilings and destroying the iron doors and windows. Sadly, a project has been destroyed by thugs that's supposed to be commissioned, inaugurated by a serving senator.
It is really, really sad. I have it. I've seen it, earlier today. It is actually very sad because this is a project that's supposed to benefit the constituency. It is not for. It's not like he's the one who is
the whole nation
attending schools. I mean, it's for. I think there's a primary school and then a girls' government school. This is education we're talking about, and then it will benefit your children's children. So it is not just about him. You're not destroying something he has done. It's not his legacy. You're destroying something that will benefit a lot of people, which is really, really sad.
I think being ignorant, really, it's what we're looking at right now.
Yes.
You think you're doing someone wants to help you people out of bondage, really, because when you look at education, it's very key.
Yes.
With education, people won't use your brains, but looking at what happened, maybe they thought they are doing the man. You're not doing him anything. You're doing yourself. Someone brought out his monies. It might be government money anyway. It's a constituency project, so it's government monies, and you went there to vandalize everything. Who are you doing? It's actually yourself. I think people need to get out of this. Some people somewhere are just using people. And I think we need to get out of these sentiments that is not paying anybody at all. If you have a project, constituency project, it's for the community.
Exactly.
It's not even for me directly, but it's going to also affect me someday because it's generational. We're evolving. We need to also begin to, I think education is key here, where we need to sensitize. Maybe I should use the word sensitization, not even it. We need to sensitize our people in our environment. And where some sort of politicians use people to create poverty for themselves, because that's what happens.
These people are not affected.
They're not affected because the man is not affected. He has a security guard. He has his own building, probably his own business somewhere, away from politics.
Doing well.
And you don't have food. You don't have school classrooms. Someone built, for God's sake. What is happening here?
Yes, in the
we should
community.
begin to sensitize our environment. We should begin to educate people that do not allow politicians use you. If they come, tell them, no way. Because this is just, I don't understand this.
Yes, education is key.
He might not want to, is our own tax money.
If they know the fact that education is key, and definitely it would benefit the society, benefit the constituency, the community, they will be very slow to actually to do things like that.
My goodness.
Definitely, it's the federal government. It's a government project, not a Dino Milai project. So if they wanted to be sentimental, they should have focused on him, which I still do not advise. So it won't cost any kind of...
no, they shouldn't even focus on him. It's only helping. Some people don't use these monies. They don't use it. They keep it.
That, okay,
some people don't use the money.
It's to benefit the society.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole nation. So it's only about things to do.
We need to get beyond these political sentiments where everything is either I'm on this side or I'm on this side. Because even on social media, you say something and somebody think, oh, you're on that side. So I just can't speak until I'm on his side. Everything doesn't have to be about sides. He's a project. It doesn't matter whether he's a PDP senator, whether he's an APC senator. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's a project, it's a project. You must look beyond the person's party. You must look beyond the person's interest and see that, okay, look, I also live in this community, or even if you don't, people live in this community who benefit from this. This is a school for children. It's a school for girls. Why not allow, if you have any grievances, there are channels that you can go through. There are different agencies that you can channel. In fact, you can even take it to the National Assembly and say, this is my grievance. But you don't go destroying properties just because.
And I think those using them too, it's just unfair. It's really unfair where you don't want the community to grow. You don't want your children to be safe, because if these people are doing this, someday they'll come out after your kids. Even if they're abroad, one day they will come home. And you're developing a generation of destruction. I think we should desist from this. It's not a do or die affair, for God's sake. If you're not there today, tomorrow you might be there. So just be patient and not think you're doing someone while you're doing yourself, or we're doing ourselves. I think we need to go away from that kind of politics.
Okay, that's a love story. Over to Precious.
Okay, looking at the front page of the Punch newspaper now, the major headline is still on the comment by the former president. It says, Buhari government confused, incompetent to stem killings, says Obasanjo. The writer says, IG must end killing of policemen now, says Reps. You find details of that on page 7. I would like to take a bit of that report. Is on page 7 of the paper. It says here, I'm taking the part where the rep said IG must end killing of policemen now. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives on Wednesday asked the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, to end the killing of policemen by unknown gunmen before the attacks deteriorate to fresh security challenge for the country. Lawmakers gave the directive in Abuja as the House debated on a motion on the killing of 4 policemen in Edo State by yet to be identified attackers. The thing is that we often talk about killings of people, citizens,
policemen.
But we also forget that policemen are also citizens, and really they've been attacked a lot in this period. There was a police officer killed in Nasarawa. I think that was yesterday. There have been reports from Sokoto, reports from Edo State. Policemen are being killed every day. I think that we should also put so much effort in reporting that, as much as we report all forms of insecurity. Whether however you think about the Nigerian police force. This man puts their life, at stake on the line every single day to ensure that, we sleep at night. So really, we should also begin to speak out about the killing of police officer. What is going on? Why is their life on the line? How can it be stemmed? Before we don't have enough police officers, first of all, in the country. Not to think of losing them at this point.
Well, I think police officers have been very helpful. If you say they are not good enough, stay without police, without security for 1 month and see what's going to happen to you. But they are human beings, and they have children, they have wife, husband. And so they are like us. But these people are giving their lives on the line every day. When I hear this kind of story, I feel so sad. And I think we truly as a people need to begin to look at the police force in Nigeria. Look at their welfare as well. Someone that you're taking, not only policemen, the military people, soldiers as well.
Security agencies.
Security agencies. Someone you're taking to Brunei State, for instance, during the Sambisa forest issues in Nigeria. We knew how many of them lost their lives. Recently, we had the van that disappeared when they attacked. We had where the stop and search policemen that were killed recently. These are human beings, and we as a people, even federal government, really need to look into it. If I have someone in the police force, will I truly, or I have a child or a brother that said he wants to go into the police force, will I truly say go? If this kind of things keep happening, will you say go? Because it's a passion. It's a passion. They want to help. And they feel good about it because they love it. That's what drives, that's what makes them happy. And so if people are ready to give their lives, I think we too also need to look at protection, insurance, look at protection. Also, even when they lose their lives, look at their families that are left behind. What do we have for them? I think we need to focus also on these people that are protecting lives. They are as important as everybody.
Exactly.
So yeah, the insecurity and security of lives in Nigeria is should be one paramount thing, one paramount sector that should be looked at effectively in Nigeria. First, we've had the cases of the insurgencies, we've had the Avengers, now we're having the farmers' herders clash, and now we have the policemen, the killings of the policemen. Now, I just want to say this: if we do not take this serious, it might get to a point where it might be too hard to handle. Right now, we have so much on our plate in terms of insecurity, and the fact that the cops are being killed is will be a very big challenge. And it's only right that the federal government, the IG, the security agencies work together, even the private sector works together to curb the situation, because
just like
we
what
need all of these
said,
things said.
It's not the first time, it's not new.
Yeah.
This has been happening for a long time. It's just that we're not focusing on it. And as a media, I think we need to do more reporting so that people too know that it's not just saying this person is missing or this person, Boko Haram invaded a community every time, without even saying some of these policemen are being attacked on a daily basis. I think we need to focus our searchlight on the police force.
Exactly. All right, now looking at one headline here that seems, quite interesting. It says CBN illegal deductions. CBN returns 65 billion naira to bank customers. Let me take that report. It's on page 24 of the Punch newspaper. Every Nigerian, I think, is affected by this. It says here the Central Bank of Nigeria says it has recovered over 65 billion naira from commercial banks in the country for wrongful deductions and charges from customers' deposits and other transactions in the last 6 years. The Acting Director of Corporate Communications, CBN, Mr. Isaac Okorafo, stated this on Wednesday on the sidelines of a two-day fair in Asaba Delta. Okorafo explained that the recovery was made between 2012 and now, stressing that the funds had since been returned to customers who hitherto complained of the wrongful charges and deductions by commercial banks. I hope I got mine.
When we were reading that story,
I don't think I got mine. I don't think I got mine.
When she was reading that story, I started thinking, calculating, did I see something recently? Immediately it was an impulse. Did I see something recently? Because that means I'm going to get some monies back.
Hopefully, maybe it's in batches because I don't think I've gotten mine. I hope I've gotten mine. Maybe I've
not gotten. If you get from CBN, isn't it?
Yes.
So if I get from the bank, I will know that, hey,
I think
is it
CBN or the banks that return?
The disburse.
I think it's the banks.
Okay, bank out there, all the banks out there, please, my name, you know my name. This was mine to me. But it's a good one from CBN, really. We must appreciate when people do things like this. It's a good one from them, where you can't be doing this to Nigerians. People are crying every day, daily, and the banks are busy reducing, deducting monies from you, your own personal monies from you, all of those illegal deduction. Thank God CBN is the monitor right now. No, it's true, it's sincere. And we want to commend the CBN, good job there. And I'm sure Nigerians will be smiling right now and say, okay, God catch them.
Yeah, we just hope.
Our language, God catch them.
We just hope that we get these monies back because facts. It's a.
Are you still hoping?
Let's just hope. Let's just hope. I said.
They said
that's what they said.
Must have gotten. The good thing is just knowing that there is somebody watching out for you.
Yes.
Nigerians want to know that, look, there's somebody watching out for interest. It's not just about, the economy or the government. And the fact that the CBN is doing that, it's a good thing.
But whether or not we get our monies back, I think it's a good thing. It's a good development. Definitely, these charges will definitely stop. And for a fact that it's not just the banks. The mobile network also do the same thing. I mean, for things you don't subscribe for, they just deduct your money, and your account is just being reduced unknowingly.
And that's NCC. That's been on that. NCC had been on that, and I'm still waiting. Mobile networks.
Monies have
charges.
I've gotten a lot of returns from my network.
Your network.
No, yeah. At times they give you. Are you sure that that's the monies for those charges? Because at times they'll give you money if you're a heavy spender or if you have done for some time.
I know there was a period where NCC mandated that they return, and I got.
Okay, thank God for that. But just moving away, we want to wrap up this segment, but I'll just take the headlines of the Daily Trust. 2019 elections, Saraki, Secondus, Tambua, Autumn, Wike, others meet. We also have APC shifts Osun governorship election, primaries election till Friday. We have the Chibok girls abduction. Police paraded 22 insurgents. Jonathan holds closed-door meeting with IBB in Mina. The former CJN Katsina Aliu dies at 76. Federal government unveils Nigerian air searches for investors. That's all we can take for this segment this morning. And we will go on this break. When we come back, we're looking at how the strategy for coping with unemployment as a youth. What do you need to do? If you're still waiting, maybe you just left school and you've been searching for a job, what can you really do during that period so that you can get yourself going in life? We'll go on this break and the phone lines will be open right away. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. What can you really do after school? You're looking for a job and no job. But maybe you've tried your hands everywhere. You've gone to and fro, and the promises keep coming. And that's what we're here. We're looking at the strategy where youth can cope, with unemployment. What can you really do to move away from being unemployed and trying to help yourself this morning? Yes, Anthony, what do you think one can really do?
Okay, there's a whole lot of things that you could do, especially when you're your youthful age, be it fresh out of high school or be it fresh out of university. That's why we advise that before you finish your university education, try and learn a skill. Now, there's a whole lot of things out there, fashion, mechanics, the entertainment industry is there, sports are there. There's a whole lot of things that a youth can actually indulge himself in. Business, entrepreneurship, But then the most important thing is knowing your career path. The best thing to do is to improve in any skill you have. If you have a passion for productions, it's only right that you go into a production studio or be it in a theater or thereabouts, learn a skill. Be it in the labor market, going for a job. The most important thing that most of these employers look at is your experience and the skills that you have. Don't just put, okay, employability skills. I saw a CV some days ago and I was saying team player, blah, blah, blah. Your skills, what can you do? Are you good in IT? Are you good in bookkeeping?
If no skills.
And that's what I'm saying. So when you're fresh out of university, you need to learn a skill. It's not just about getting a job.
Some don't even have,
you need to learn a skill.
A skill is something you give yourself. It is not something somebody gives to you, because most times we blame everything on the government. We say, oh, government has not provided a job. But even when these opportunities come, if you have not developed yourself to learn a skill, you would also miss that opportunity. The thing is, a lot of people, like he said, a lot of organizations are looking for experience. And the problem with people is that they don't want to go get experience. You're angry that an organization is saying, I'm looking for 3 to 5 years experience. But you're saying, if I don't get a job, how am I going to get the experience? I was telling someone some days ago that I paid for my experience so that I can be paid for the same experience. I had to work with an organization for 2 years without a dime. And the person was like, how did you survive? I said, well, it was something that I wanted to do. And I had conditioned my mind that, look, no matter what happens in this period, I am going to focus. Because I knew that this was the industry that I wanted to be in. So for 2 years, I didn't get 1 naira. I was working in this organization. I would be the first person to go there. I took everybody's shifts that I didn't want to take because I wanted to learn. So most times we really need to at least be ready to pay, volunteer, be ready to pay for experience.
The price, yes.
Pay the price and say, okay, this is something I really want to do. Let me serve with you for this period. It could be 6 months, it could be 1 year, and then I'm gone. If they also find you useful in that 6 months, 1 year, they'll retain you. But a lot of people don't want to go get experience.
Yeah, it is estimated that 1.9 million is added to labor market yearly. And so if you have this kind of figure yearly, pushing it, trunking into the labor markets, and you're sitting down there saying, I'll keep waiting for a job, you might just wait forever. I think that people need to, especially these days, you see young girls learning makeup, you want to go for a party, and I'm also learning. You want to go for a party and you have to call for their services, and it's not for free, just to learn how to make up. Some of them buy data to use the YouTube to learn how to do makeup. Yes. And some, now you see young guys graduates going into other world and they're learning mechanics. You see female
Even guys are doing makeup.
Women are doing it now, Guys are doing it. They're doing hair making.
Yeah,
guys, you go everywhere, you see guys making hair. In fact, females, women prefers the guy. They believe it's assumed that this guy is better than the other sex,
Yes,
so
it's because most times the ladies make up for the guys. So, and when you make up for the guy, the guy knows.
But I think that we should look at the labor market and tell yourself the truth. that in this market that comes in every year, people are, every day you graduate, every time you see people coming out for school, and you are just there waiting one day, maybe one day. Some people have spent 5 years doing nothing. They don't have skills. And they keep saying that government hasn't done anything for you. You can look around you, look at your environment. What do you think they need the most around you? What can you offer around you? And take the advantage of that.
Yeah, that's
learn something that can suit in. IT is there. People just, it's just data, and you're on social media. People make sales from the social media. People help people to create their website. It's not something some people don't learn it in the university.
Yes, in the age of today, there's so many things that the 20th century has brought that we can actually tap into and not be jobless.
21st century.
That the 20th brought, we are in the 21st.
Okay, 20th brought into the 21st century.
You understand? So when you look at all of these things, okay, people are on social media right now, and you go on social media, spend your whole day on social media being entertained because you feel you don't have a job. Okay, I'm waiting at the house, waiting for a job. Meanwhile, people are actually making millions from social media. People, there's what they call social media marketing.
Yes.
People are actually making millions from that. So by the time you look at your surroundings, if you're not sure about what kind of skill you want to involve yourself into, just look at your surroundings. Trust me, there is something you can tap in. You know, the CEO of this country said, of his company, sorry, said he's the first that produces something, and he just looked around and said, okay, people are actually importing. I can produce these things here, and if I produce these things here, I can make that impact. And he did it. So
you need to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Outside the box.
It's even thinking as if there is no box. The thing is, basically, you talked about makeup industry. People think, because I know a lot of people who say, no, makeup that industry is too full now. Everyone is doing makeup. The makeup industry can never run out of business
at all,
and it can never be too oversaturated because there are women everywhere. And there will always be, people are giving birth every day, and they're giving birth to girls. So you will always have someone to do makeup for. I remember one of the pastor's wife in Nigeria, prominent pastor's wife, said there was a Saturday she was going for a wedding, and a makeup person disappointed her because she had to go do the bride's makeup. And then she went around. Everybody around in that area was booked. Every makeup artist was booked. She had to drive down to Surulere before she found someone who wasn't booked, and she paid 15,000 naira for makeup. The person said, I was already closing, so I'll just do it for you. I'll do it for you for nothing less than 15,000. So imagine doing just one face for 15. She didn't have a choice. She paid 15,000. So that's money. And then again, you talked about data. People buy data, and all we do is, we go on Instagram, we go on Facebook, we like pictures. But there are people who download videos every day and they're learning something. There are people who have become self-taught because all they do is go to YouTube, download videos, and learn. I went to learn a particular kind of meal recently, and I just remembered, instead of looking for somebody to teach me, I went on YouTube, downloaded, let me learn how to cook this meal. And then I downloaded the video and I learned how to cook it because I wanted to taste it.
And someone is making money from that download.
Exactly.
Someone is making money from that download, yes.
So you could actually buy data, download videos. People are learning, like you said, people are learning how to make up just by downloading videos on YouTube because they don't have the money to go pay someone who is doing makeup to teach them. So they just download videos, practice every day at home on how to do makeup. There are a lot of things that we can do.
Even hair. Yes, go ahead.
One thing I should encourage the youth to do is volunteering. We feel, okay, how much is being paid? Okay, they're not paying as much, they're not paying me, so they just let it go. You just need to, like she said, pay the price. And I forgot the statement you made, but fine. You had to pay for your experience so that your experience could pay for you. And that's a very good one. Look at it from this angle. By the time you have 1 year experience in any craft you feel, trust me, not everyone has the ability to learn from YouTube or thereabouts. As a matter of fact, that's a fact. I learned a lot of things from YouTube. As a matter of fact, YouTube is my best friend. But I have people that have approached me and told me, okay, I want to learn editing, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. I tell them, okay, I will give you tutorials that I have, how I learned. They'll be like, no, I can't do this. Sometimes it gets very boring. The best thing to do, if you feel you're not category, volunteer. Just volunteer. Tell this person, okay, I want to stay beside you. I want to learn, just watch, observe, ask questions. That's the best thing. You know, it might be for a year, it might be for 6 months, it might be there about, but the plan is after that period of time, you know that what you already know, you can't take it back.
Yeah, you can't take it because, and sometimes some friends might discourage you. Some parents might say, I paid 5 years, paid your fee through school, 5 years. And you want to come out to tell me you don't want to do makeup or just hair gear? No, they're not doing the calculation. I knew a girl, she didn't go to school. And she's not very exposed, but she's very good at making one up. I mean, extremely good. You might not realize when she's done that it's yourself again. You look like someone else, you know. And every day people get there. If you're going out, if you have an event, say Saturday morning, you have to be there, say 6 a.m. if you have an event for 10 o'clock, because the crowd you will meet there. Then she's not taking as high as 5,000. She's taking 2,000 naira for your makeup and gele. And you see the crowd there. When you calculate, I've been there several times, and I'll do the arithmetic. Guys, man, this girl is taking so much salary just in 3 hours. Yeah. And she's so fast that less than 30 minutes, she's done with one. Another one steps in, and another one, and another one.
So imagine if you does like 10 people, that's already 20,000.
That someone is making in a day, and she makes more than that. And some people call her for home services. And she has girls that now she's trained people that is making money for her if she's not there. She's not educated. And you see a girl making, say, take home maybe 15,000 or 20 a day, calculated. And during the week, you see people go there, people go in, those bank workers, I learned they make that up for them. And so she's booked to make up people in the bank. And maybe in that bank, they have, say, 15 girls. And she's charging you 20,000. And they do it every day. You know, she's charging you 2,000 per person. You can just do the arithmetic of what this person is making. Can you actually, as a worker, make that in your establishment? So these are the things people need to sit down and face reality. And parents too. Don't say it's demeaning to make dresses. How can my child, after reading mathematics in school, and say she's a fashion designer? What fashion what? I think parents do have a lot, you know, they're contributing, making their children stay at home.
You know,
my mother will always say that money doesn't say where it came from.
Yes.
You know, when you're spending money, it doesn't say, oh, I came from sewing shoe. No, nobody knows how you made the money. It's just money. And that's what parents, because when I was getting my experience, I had family support. You know, most times I couldn't go, and then I would get money to go. So I had that support because they knew that, okay, I was doing this because I was going somewhere. And the thing is, you talked about this lady who is making so much money in a day without education. And this is what a lot of people think. They say, no, with all my BSc or my, my master's, how will I be doing this? No, I can't do that. The thing with education is that education is useless if it cannot be put into critical thinking and productive use. What you use is your certificate. If it's only lying in a box and then it's not bringing
generating
nothing for you. So at the end of the day, you have to tell yourself, the reason I should guess, you know, let's even say you now have a master's for, which is another 2 years, and then you're not able to use that brain to think of a way out. You mentioned something about looking within your environment, and it's this, sometimes it's just pride that's limiting us. People just have this feeling of, no, I have a BSc, I'm educated, so I'm not going to do anything beyond an office job. It has to be me taking my bath to an office every single day. If that's what you want, then, like we've talked about, then go get the experience first. But if not, also learn skill and make money out of that skill.
Yeah, like what you said, we look at things and say, okay, I'm a BSc holder, I should be working a white-collar job. We like to glorify the white-collar thing, We need to move past, as a matter of fact, we are past that right now in Nigeria. The fact that you study this course does not really mean that you must go through that channel when looking for a career path. I told you, I have said it right on this program, I'm in the media, but I read a different course entirely. I read education. So the fact that you did that, as a matter of fact, one business mogul in the media, Dili Momodu, read Yoruba education, and he's a very, you know what it is. So looking at all of these things, do not be intimidated by the friends or the white-collar jobs or the fact that your parents are saying this or that. It's only right that you have a focus. You have a passion for this. You have a passion for, be it fashion, be it, there's so many things out there that people have passions for, but they look at it like, okay, it's, the society looks at it like, okay, it's not that glorifying, it's not glamorous. Take, for instance, agriculture. Farming, you know, but the truth is it's not even necessary you be the farmer. You could be the marketer, you could be the owner of the farm, controlling the things. There's so much in agriculture distribution, you understand? So by the time you start to think you're outside the box, you start to think towards the direction that it's a career path, it's a goal, it's making a living and not just about your certificate.
No, when you say farming,
yes,
I don't think right now in Nigeria we need to begin to really tell people what is happening. You can be a farmer. There's nothing wrong as a graduate. For your information, there's nothing wrong for you to take cutlass or take, because you are a youth that just left school. You know, you just left school. You don't have monies to even, you know. I've seen one young guy we bring here. I knew when he started. And he brought something, corn flour, for us recently. He started farming. He went to school, and instead of sitting at home every day begging people, please, can I have this one? Let me go and drop my CV, my resume somewhere. Please give me 10, 20, 200 naira. Let me go and drop my resume somewhere. Give me this, give me. He became tired, and someone introduced him into farming. And he started farming, and today it's okay. He can feed himself. He even gives us some things out of his produce. So there's nothing wrong in you taking it to say, because even if you have your PhD, there's nothing to say. Lots of people are going into farming now, and there's a great deal about it for me. I wanted to venture into it, but it's looking as if everywhere in Lagos is occupied already. nowhere for you to even farm. And so that's why people are going outside Lagos, going outside Lagos to get farmland. I met a man recently. He was telling me about farming. He worked in an oil company, and he said to me, do you know I have a farm in a village right now? Because I am going to retire soon. I might not get the kind of monies that is coming in right now. And so I have to think about the future. And so he is going into farming with whatever he's gotten right now, that he has started farming. And he said, do you know that we share the proceeds with my farm manager, with the people working in the farm? And I said, okay, if you do this, if we gain, say, 200,000 in a month, we're going to share the gains together. Exactly. And this encouraged the workers to keep farming because they want to make more gains. Not waiting for employment. I think if we keep waiting, say, because you're a student, you're a fine girl.
You won't.
I'm a fine girl. How can they see me stay? But we've seen auto mechanics, we've seen automations, we've seen girls going into it. I brought some young girls. They're not adult. They're adult, let's say, but a girl of 20 years old, a girl of 25 years old finished the university and said, hey, I want to go down the cars to make some repairs. And that's what I want to do, because I finished school and I didn't have a job, so I had to go into it. And maybe we'll bring her someday again. And she's so excited about what she's doing, and she feels money is beginning to come in. If she had not gone into that, I'm sure she'll be a liability to someone.
And for someone like that, she's going to have a lot of patronage because it's rare. So people will think, oh, for you to do this, you know, the thing with venturing into something is once you get in, you really begin to find support. It's only when you have not moved out of the house that you don't get support. Once you venture in, you find support. And I know there's someone who's watching right now saying, you know, it's easy to see all of these things. What about capital?
Can you do
it? How do I raise the capital for all of these things? The thing with farming is that you can start at the back of your house.
Yes.
You don't need to own a land somewhere. I know that in almost every homes, you know, maybe not in Lagos, but even in Lagos, people grow vegetable at the back of their house. And vegetable is one of the easiest things to grow at the back of your house. You can start at the back of your house, grow something, sell it, you know, as long as you're dedicated and committed to saving the money, to, you know, growing bigger than where you are, you definitely will. And even if you're saying, look, I don't have capital, you buy data all the time. Some people, even if they don't eat,
they buy units.
Yes,
they make calls.
They make calls. You can decide, okay, how do I cut down on my excesses, the things that I spend so much money on? You know, I know someone who takes a bottle of soft drink every day, and she said to herself, every time I feel the urge to take a bottle of drink, that's how she dealt with it. She had this really strong addiction. I would throw the money in my piggy bank. So by the end of the year, she had almost more than 100,000 naira in that piggy bank. It became capital for her to do something. So you can also do that. But the funny thing with people who are also looking for white-collar job is, some people will get a job now, tell you the salary is beneath me. You've been home for years or for a month, and then you get a job, and the first thing you tell yourself is, no, that money is too small, I can't take that. As much as you know you want to earn so much, but you should first of all think of, okay, let me get the experience first, no matter how small the money is. Let me get the experience. It might be 25, it might be 40, it might be whatever, it might be 50, it might be 60, it might be 80, you know, but let me get the experience first, and then use that experience, no matter how small the salary I'm earning, use that same experience to get something better that pays me much more. So really, at the end of the day, it doesn't cost so much money if you really just use your brain and critical thinking to figure out this.
Yeah, critical thinking. And one thing that we need to put in our mind is that for those of us that are planning to go into something, that are planning to start something, we don't have to be afraid. There's actually nothing to lose. In as much as sometimes investing all that time, all that capital, there is this fear of failure there. You know, will it strive? But then all of these things, there's no business or there's no business out there that did not face the same challenge. You understand? So we don't have to be afraid. If it's worth it, if you think it's worth it, just go do it. Go do it. God's blazing, do your thing. Invest in that product. Make that product. You know, push it out to the markets, and don't be afraid to start small. We don't have to be afraid. You know, we look at things and said, okay, the bigger ones are there. The competition is too competitive. You know, we don't want to go against those that are really making the big bucks. But then you might not know the investor that might pass by and say, okay, I think I like this, I'll invest in it. You know, a white man actually invested in a Bolly business, and it made so much money, report said. You know, and when I look at it, I was like, Bolly, for real?
Roasted plantain.
We all eat Bolly. Oh my goodness.
For real?
It's one thing that I can eat every single day. So imagine how much those people are making for me.
You know, and so the white man, this guy, he made so much money, and the lady who brought the proposal made a lot of money too.
Okay, so just like the girl, the young girl I was talking about, she said she had challenges a lot when she told her mom she can't sit at home. The mom is not a very wealthy woman, and she knew how the mom suffered to get her through school. Coming out, she had begged, she had pursued getting a job, and the job isn't coming, so she became fed up. And there's a mechanic joint around her corner, the house. So every day she goes and tells the man she wants to learn. And they all laughed at her when she started. I started laughing at, you want to learn what? You know, because it's strange in a world of ours. But all the same, she ventured into it, and that's how she started. And another man picked up from there, because their own, it's different from, they use it's computerized system. But you know, starting off first, she said the mother felt so bad that, I'm going to say it in Yoruba palliative. They'll use me, they'll mock at me if you go into that. So it was touching for her. But she told the mom not to worry. But right now she's feeding the house, she's paying school fee for her younger ones, and she's doing something. But with those dirty mechanics, so forget about the death you have.
She dresses out on a number of days.
No, if you see her, no, the company she's working with now, we're going to bring her. If you look at her, you won't know she's into that kind of thing. She said she doesn't ever care. She will educate you on how you must check your tires, because she entered into a company where they now train them, and this is a different training. And people are doing that right now in Nigeria. She will tell you the expiring time. If you tell her what's wrong with your car, she will tell you the solution of it. You see, so she's moved from that local man you see down there to another kind of person, and she's making monies. I'm going to bring her someday maybe for us to talk more. We'll do a part 2 of this so that she can actually educate some girls out there. She's a girl. She's not even a man, but she said, I dared into the men's world, and I'm going to make something someday. I'm going to establish a school someday, because she actually went to school. So it's important to first go to school anyway, because you have an added advantage. If you go to school, you begin to talk with people. And she said she's going to check someone's car on the island. The way she dresses, she will dress like a lady. She carries a box, you know, and equipment, and she's gone. And you get there and said, are you the person that I called? She said, yes, I'm the person. You won't know. But she charges you for, no, not bringing your car. She going there. That's a different payment altogether. So she's making loads of money. And they, this institution is really training them into the corporate world, where you don't see them as, you pay for the services rendered. You know. And so if you're a youth out there, you think that you cannot venture. I can venture into, I tell myself I multitask. I'm into a lot of things, you know. I sell a lot of things. Fish. I put it someday on the social media that you can get stuff from me. And people called me up saying, excuse me, a presenter, a media person selling dry fish. I said, what's your business with that? Money must come in anyway. So if you're not doing anything, some people are doing something at least, and they still do other things. You can get to your backyard, precious. You talked about getting to your backyard and doing something, selling stuff. Your neighbors, you can sell small tomatoes. Now that it's expensive, you can sell small tomatoes and make money. At least you eat, and your family can even get something from that, not just wasting the fees you spend in school. We can do other things. You can do, we have people doing Ankara bags. Exactly. Do you know ladies are doing Ankara bags now? Yes. And it's just to place the Ankara, and they buy cheap Ankara and just place it and go, and you put the tag 5K. Something they spend about 154. Even
Ankara shoes.
Ankara shoes. Earrings, something that will not cost them 300 naira, and you're buying it for 250. Someone is making money. So as a youth out there, don't complain about what my pastor will say something. Every time you say, what can the government do for you? Tell yourself, what can I do also for myself and for the government? It's not about what can the government do. Why is the government not doing this? Why is the government not doing? I know that government has a responsibility. But what about you? What can you offer to me? What are the services I need to pay for? Is it to polish shoes? People do it. Now, what they do now is you have specialized people cleaning your houses if you're busy. But we also have the local one that we patronize. We don't want to spend more money getting those people that will come in with their buses.
But the thing, you know, this is what, sorry to interrupt you, but this is what we talk about when we say, don't look at yourself and say, I am above this.
I'm above this.
Because there are people who clean people's houses, educated people, but they put a different kind of touch. Then they then also render services of reorganizing your house. Now, as a cleaner, they tell you, well, I just think that this chair should have been placed like this, and you're like, I could help you, but extra charge. So that's another way. So they also are doing interior. That's another way. So you really, there are a lot of things you can do if you don't have anything at the moment. It looks like after I went to school, but if you're really focused, you can realize that you can also become, you know, an employer of labor. A lot of my friends who I am working, but a lot of my friends who are doing business are making so much money from me.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're not making from me. They're making so much money. They come out, I'm like, I don't want, but I look at it. This is something that I need, so I pay for it, and they are making money from me. So you can also become the person who is making money from your friends. You're making so much money, even more than your friends who you think are probably in oil and gas and they're in the media and they're making so much money. You can do better.
We have a colleague here, my bid got bad, and he says, hey, I make bid. I said, my goodness. My colleague is saying, I make bid. A guy, he's a man. He's not a woman. He said, I make bid. I can make better one for you. I said, okay, this one is bad. If you can fix it, I know you can make it. And because something I've lost hope, and it's so lovely, and it's expensive.
And you mentioned something.
And he fixed it. And he fixed it. And I was shocked. I said, amen. That
is one thing. You mentioned something about your friend saying, I want to venture into the man's world and take over. You know, and now you're telling us about a colleague that makes a bid. You see, one thing about Nigerians, especially Africans, we stereotype some things to gender. Oh, I can't be a chef. No, that's a woman's thing. She's in the kitchen. Let her do that. You know, and a lady is saying, saying, well, my mechanic is a man's thing. Well, no, I can't do that. You know. But by the time you keep deceiving yourself, I mean, the economy right now is really messed up, and see, there's so much out there. You know, regardless of whatever you're doing, as long as it's responsible, you're making a good living out of it. Trust me, people are feeding their kids out of so many things you underlook.
True.
You know, so I think we should just
we also need to
take away that stereotype.
Aware that, look, work has no gender.
Facts.
There is no industry that is for a particular gender. And because it looks like, men have been the one who have been doing mechanic job, because look at men are the ones who can get dirty. You know, we have nails, we have hair, so we can't get dirty. There is no industry that is gender-based. And that's what we do in the media. They will tell you there is no gender in the newsroom. Once you're in the media, we're all men.
We're all men.
They address everyone as gentlemen in the media.
Yeah.
So really, you have to know that there is no job, there is no industry that has gender. There are women cameramen everywhere. There are men who do manicure and pedicure everywhere. So there is no gender. As long as money is coming in, money is coming. Money doesn't know this is a girl or this is a
Maybe because of the economy now, we see that people, if you're still waiting for a job, please don't wait. People have moved away from that waiting for a job.
Doing things.
Because you see women riding tricycle. We see them riding tricycle, what you call keke or mapep, you know. Women are doing tricycle right now. Women are riding commercial buses. I've seen a lady just, and she behaves like a man anyway. She just like a conductor. She just, excuse me, come in. I looked at her, my goodness. But I admire her. Instead of stealing or instead of going out there messing up with men, she decided to do something. And she went to school. And she's making money.
Exactly.
And one thing I would employ on entrepreneurs or those going into any form of business, for the fact that the business is booming or not booming at the present situation of things, your repackaging and packaging is what makes it stand out. I just told you about the bully business. All the lady did was put it in a takeaway pack. Just did some little, branded it, did some little, beautified it.
Makes a difference.
It made a difference. Trust me, not everybody wants to go out there on the streets and buy bully.
There are people who package Gary.
Yes,
because and for that, a lot of people are afraid of this whole Lassa fever thing where rats, comes on the guy, and then people decide that, okay, let's package it so that when you come, it looks in it. Because for people who buy Gary, the first thing you're thinking is, hope is hygienic, hope I can eat, drink this.
Or the environment where you're producing these things.
So the thing is, they decide to package it. And people buy it because they feel like, okay, this is in their mind, this is more hygienic for me to eat.
And you look at, there are so many products, for those of you who drink alcoholic drinks, I'm not promoting alcoholism. Okay, let's move away from that. For those of us that there's so many things out there that you go to the boutique or you go to the mall, you see at 5,000 naira, and locally the lady selling beside you is just about say $100 or thereabouts. Packaging.
No, even now you can get your fruit salad. You can get your fruit juice.
Yes.
When you go and say you want smoothie, people now package smoothie for you. But we have a caller now. Patrick, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Tell us your experience, or tell us what you think people need to do to get out of being unemployed.
Okay. The problem is this, there are some people who even think out of the box to create something new. But later on, they end up in different positions and different police firms. I know of them now who lose his job, and they come back home and start doing all this looking so. So the side area. But every day you have some police post. Every time they come arrest me, the last they came, they bring me the man that arrested why. So some people, when they say think out of the box, some people think out of the box of their system. So they never find out the problem.
Thank you for calling. Excuse me. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean,
at least people come around.
Creating the enabling environment. for these businesses to thrive is also very important, because we can say start a business, start a business, start a business, and when you start a business, you don't, because of all the people talking about double taxation or multiple taxation for a small and medium enterprises, where you're paying to one local government comes, the state government comes, the federal government comes, and you're paying a lot of taxes. Those kind of issues should also be looked at for small businesses, where we create that environment for this kind of businesses to thrive. That you're not disturbing someone who is selling roasting barley on the road for the space that she's occupying. Because these people then grow to become, bigger businesses that employ labor. So I agree with him that as much as we're saying start a business, we must also create that enabling environment for these businesses to grow.
And that will come from the government, because you have actually started doing something.
Yes.
And we should encourage people to do that. If we say there's no employment and the economy is the way it is, we should also create an avenue where people can be free to display talent. Recently in Nigeria, where people begin to complain that there's no food, lots of people have decided that, okay, I'm going to help myself. Some will tell you, can I help you laundry your clothes? And they get it from offices. Some will tell you, I can prepare egusi soup. You don't have to bother yourself. You go to work early morning and come in the night. I can give you a bucket for 12,000 naira, but that's what it is. And some people are making money from just cooking, and they know you can cook, but you don't have the time to cook. So even in cooking soup, vegetable soup has its cost. They will tell you want shaki, you want tomo in there, you want all of that, and they have a cost. So that's not going to cost you anything to go to someone's house and say, good morning, please, what I do. And you can also use the social media also to advertise. We see very tempting soups. Tempting, I'm telling you. Okay, we have Douglas. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning to you.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Douglas.
About the issue, I was watching a program on entrepreneur to start an entrepreneur on TV now. And they asked, how can somebody start a business who is not working? There are business all around. But some of us don't have persistence on the business.
You don't have
persistence.
But persistence on the business. That's why most of the business fail. The other one, there's no conducive atmosphere of starting a business, because sometimes our own power source to run our business, which kills the business before it already starts. So there are some fundamentals that we have to look into to start the business, and there are some fundamentals that fight against the business.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes.
Okay, the truth is, like I said earlier on, there is no business, be it a personal, okay, fine. There are two kinds of business generally: they buy and sell goods and services, goods, buy and sell, and the services, you rendering service and getting paid for it. Now, for those that start businesses, and he said there are no persistence, one of the reasons why it fails, trust me, regardless, learning a skill or starting a business, running a business, if that persistence, that consistency is not there, there are always going to be flops.
So
you can't take it away from it. You have to stay strong.
If you have challenges, just like what Douglas has said.
Now, he talked about the fact that
how can you stay in business when there are challenges affecting the business?
Number one, learn the business. You can't just
already learned the business, but there are challenges surrounding.
Definitely.
You have to tell yourself that you have to go with the mindset that I'm not going to make so much money in the first 1 year. Because a lot of people think that, oh, once I launch into this business, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire in 2 years, in 2 months, I'm expecting returns immediately. You need to understand that, and you must ask questions before you start. Ask people within the industry, how long did it take you to make your first 1 million in this business? How long did it take you to make your first 100,000? I'm not just talking about 100,000 in terms of, both capital, because you need to also separate your capital from your profit. How long did it take you to make your first 100,000 profit, so that you know what you're working towards. And then you must also tell yourself that within the first 2 years, or between the first 1 year, the money that I make, I'll plow back into the business. It is not profit, it is capital that we put back into the business. Because the idea is for the business to grow. It is not just, as long as you want to feed yourself, you must also know that the business has to grow.
Okay, to answer the question, you asked, the truth is there are different challenges of a business. That's the truth. I can't just come out with a general answer. There are businesses that are suffering because of no electricity, the amount of money that has been spent on diesel and the likes. But at the end of it, I feel that when a challenge comes, it's only right that you look at the challenges, somehow, some way, do some thinking and go back to it.
Okay.
Sometimes it might be partnership.
Okay. Patrick is back. Patrick.
Hello.
Yes.
I come back again.
Go ahead.
The issue concerning a small production in Nigeria, small scale, is for instance, here in example, I've attended the national government and the state government seminar. After the seminar, they give you a total of 20,000 or 10,000 dollars. But for the thing that there are agencies that stand by what is true to bring up their good alternatives out there, direct you, ask you why certificate you're done, ask you what the situation of the other. Do you have data? Do you have this? Do you have that? Why what they're doing is done by federal government or state government? So how do you think that person will go? A person will maybe having a backup of maybe 50,000 or 100,000. The action to go and register is going up to 200,000 or 300,000.
My brother.
How do you think that person will go?
Okay, we are wrapping up now. Thank you. To strive. Thank you so much. He brings something very important we have to also look at. Someone is trying to start up a business, the small, medium scales industry. You're trying to start up a business and someone is telling you, come and register with 200,000.
There is no business you register with 200,000.
Maybe register to start. Maybe there's a I think what they do most times are networking, and they tell you for you to start, we'll give you some product worth this amount. Or something like that, but we must wrap up now.
That's not the kind. You don't have to do multi-level marketing.
Yes,
there are businesses you can start that do not require multi-level marketing. And number two, I know that this administration has done so much, especially in the ease of doing business, to ensure that people start their business easily and then run easily. That process is still ongoing. There are a lot of things you can take advantage of. It shouldn't be a discouragement for you not to start. I can't even stand multi-level marketing. So basically, there are a lot of business you can do.
Yes, in wrapping up,
like she said, there's a lot of business you can do. But then, as a youth out there, the best thing you can do for yourself is learn a skill. For those of you who are coppers in the NYSC, the best thing you can do for yourself right now before you leave or get into the labor markets, learn a skill. I would say that again, learn a skill. Thank you. I am Anthony Osaipovo.
Okay, but Patrick and Douglas also said something very important. And I think that we need to also pay attention to that. You can start with a business that will not cost you more. You can start with something that you just need, like washing clothes. You're not the one that's going to buy the detergent. You're not the one that's going to buy the detergent for someone. Like cooking for someone, you're not the one that will buy. Even if you're buying ingredients, it's not going to be your own money. The person will give you money to prepare the food, and you still make gains. And you can actually begin to look at something that will not cost you a lot. To start with. And you also talk about being persistent. Don't start a business. You also mentioned that, Precious. Do not start a business and think, I want to make all the monies out of that business immediately. You cultivate the habit of saving. Okay, first save for some time and let the business grow for some time. Then after, you can also employ someone else. You become an employer of labor. You employ someone else to also continue in that instead. So the business is flourishing and is going. And before you say Jack Robinson, That's it. You are up there. So you can start small and grow a business and get to the point. That's where we end this edition of the program today. And before we wrapping up this show, let's talk about the World Cup and the buying of players at the World Cup. And what do you think? I've not asked you what you feel about this year's World Cup. Yes, Precious.
Oh, it was really very interesting. I think for me it was the year, apart from the fact that France won, that Croatia got to the final, for me it was the year of the underdogs. You know, countries that we didn't know could do so. For example, Iceland did so well. They didn't make it to the next round, but at least, you know, they proved that, look, that it was their first time, and they proved that, look, we're here. We're here to make a statement. You have countries that we didn't expect would do well, did well. And as much as they didn't get to the finals, but they did well. Belgium got to the semi-finals.
At least.
Yes, so it was really very interesting. That was what was interesting for me, to see these countries that didn't have this kind of names do well at the World Cup.
What about Anthony?
Well, like she said, it was a year of the underdogs. This is that year that teams came out to say, okay, you feel that we are being underrated. Let's prove to the world that we can actually do this. We could do that. We could meet the expectations of those that are being overrated. Take for instance Belgium. We're arguing here on this platform, and I told you I would never go for Belgium. That was I think Belgium against, was it?
Can't remember right now.
Can't really remember, but then you were going for that company, and I was going for that the other team. You went for Belgium, but then Belgium won. So at the end of the day, hopes were high. Hopes were.
Hey, if you're determined, you get anything you want to get. It's determination.
Who would have thought of a country like Australia or Brazil would leave the world? Germany
nobody believed Germany would just say bye-bye for World Cup, but it did happen, and we begin to see Ronaldo's what is stamped on him right now. And I said, football is it, man. Football, you know.
But I think this tells everyone, the whole world, that see, you don't have to just bank on the fact that you're on top. You know, there's one thing going to the top, there's one other thing being on top, staying there. So right now, lots of countries, teams are gearing up for the next World Cup, and definitely we hope Nigeria will make it to the finals at least.
I pray Nigeria will not because expectation was high for Nigeria. We wanted, even you could see products being displayed before the World Cup saying bring back the cup. You know, everybody, they used artists saying, hey, we're going to win the World Cup. Even myself, I thought I wasn't seeing us winning the World Cup, but I was seeing us getting to a particular maybe semi-final this time around. But that didn't happen. But that did not mean that they didn't play well. They did play well, but we need to look at our formation, our tactics, our pattern of play when we say football. But we must wrap up now. Yes, we're leaving now.
Well, like I said, like I always said, learn a skill. Learn a skill for the youths out there. Learn a skill. It's companies right now are not just looking for services or values. They're looking for value-added service. For the fact that you're a presenter, or for the fact that you actually suit the job, there are other things, skills that once added to your CV, you know, you have an edge over your mates. And at the same time, you could actually learn skills for your personal development. Thank you. I am Anthony Usaibovo.
All right, I am Precious Amayo. I would always advocate you go get your PVC. Enjoy the rest of your day.
When I'm Vera Osopo, I will see you again tomorrow. We're going to be seeing you tomorrow again, the weekend edition. We come up tomorrow. Keep watching Super Screen Television. And don't forget, get something going. Get yourself something. Just don't sit at home. See yourself as making monies for yourself. We'll see you tomorrow.